My narcissistic mom wants to bring her young boyfriend to my wedding. I don't know if I should allow her because she ruined my life. I am not close with my mother at all ever since she divorced my dad when I was 7 and almost immediately married my stepfather Mark. Ironically, despite everything, I was close with him. They remained married until I was 16. I was upset when she divorced him and went to live with my dad and stepmom. In my adult life, I've chosen to remain close to my stepdad and even attended his wedding to his current wife, who is a very nice woman. My dad and my stepmom are great people too. Since her divorce to my stepdad, my mom has been in and out of relationships, each time claiming the guy is the love of her life until they do something she doesn't like and then they aren't the love of her life anymore. Both divorces with my dad and my stepdad were for very petty reasons. With my dad, he wouldn't allow her to get a new car because the budget was tight, so she divorced him. The one that lasted the longest was 6 years and it's the current guy she's with. After I left home, she never did anything with me without her boyfriends, and that's only because their boyfriends insisted she get in touch with me since I'm still her daughter above all else. Funny enough, when I was 25, she broke up with her boyfriend and tried to cry to me about it. After working with my therapist, I set the boundary with my mother that if she wasn't willing to do anything with me without her boyfriend to not bother, and I didn't want to talk about her love life. She was very hurt and we fell out for a while, but she came back around a year later and has respected my rules since. We really only get together about 2 or 3 times per year. I understand that my mom's relationships and love life are important to her, so I respect that we don't get together often. Now, I'm getting married to my partner of 10 years in October. It's a small intimate backyard wedding and reception/barbecue. My mom asked if she could bring her boyfriend. I said no because I don't know him. My mom asked if she could bring him to meet me so I could meet him before the wedding. I said no and that I still had no interest in meeting her boyfriends. She said she understood, but she felt it was unfair that I wasn't allowing her A+1 to my wedding when my dad and my stepdad were allowed to bring their spouses. I told her that the difference was that I knew their spouses. She wanted to know why I was so adamant about refusing to get to know her boyfriend. I explained to her that I saw no need since she'd just break up with them and move on to someone else eventually, as she has always done before. She started to cry and told me I was being unreasonable and treating her as if she's a WH3. Both my fiancé and my sister feel like I should suck it up for one day and let her bring her boyfriend so she can be comfortable there. I'm seriously considering it, but I wanted to know if I'm an a-hole for sticking to my boundary at my wedding. Update: I've decided to email my mother and invite him. I was already leaning towards telling her that he can come when I posted. I decided to set some ground rules for my mother. He is there as A+1 to my mother only. I made it clear to her that he is not my family and he is not my stepfather, so I will appreciate her not telling other people at the wedding he is my stepfather. Mark is my stepfather and he will be there. He is not to be in any family photos. In fairness, my stepdad Mark won't be in any family photos either, only my mom, dad, stepmom, and my siblings. He is not to approach me at any point during the wedding and reception. This does not change my previous boundaries. I'm only allowing him to come for her own comfort and to create a sense of fairness. I respect the fact she is in a relationship, but her love life has nothing to do with me and I wish to keep it that way. I told my mother that these are my terms for him being at my wedding and my terms are final, so I hope she can respect the fact that I'm trying to be reasonable. I used this opportunity to remind her of the reasons I put the boundary up in the first place. These reasons included forcing me to do activities with her shorter-term boyfriends in the past, forcing me to only discuss her love life while showing no interest in my life, and putting her relationships above her own children. Well, my mom called me within 10 minutes of getting the email. She thanked me for allowing him to come and said they would abide by my terms. She said she felt really hurt that her actions during her midlife crisis are why I'm refusing to meet her current boyfriend, who she says she's been with for 7.5 years, and that she thought things would eventually calm down enough where I would be comfortable meeting him. She said she now realizes that it will never happen. I told her that I'm firm on my stance. She started to cry, but she said she understood and only wants him there because being around my dad, stepdad, and their new wives, my dad has been married for 23 years and my stepdad for 12, makes her anxious and he helps keep her calm. She said she respects my stance and said it's her own fault I feel this way. I felt this may be the start of a guilt trip, so I politely ended the call. My narcissistic mom wants to bring her young boyfriend to my wedding. I don't know if I should allow her because she ruined my life. My mother got 911 called on her for domestic violence on Tuesday. She apparently started throwing wine bottles at her boyfriend, who locked himself in the bathroom and called the cops while she destroyed their place in one of her temper tantrums. She wasn't making any sense when the cops got there, so they restrained her and took her to a hospital. She's been stuck in the psychiatric ward ever since. My sister was listed as a contact for her and she got the call about mom on Wednesday. The doctors at the hospital spoke to my sister and they think she may be showing signs of alcohol-related dementia as well as some sort of psychotic disorder like bipolar disorder. They currently have her in alcohol detox, and from what my sister was told, it's pretty bad. They won't allow her visitors until she's out of detox, not that anyone really has a desire to visit her anymore. My sister and I decided enough was enough and we petitioned for guardianship for her yesterday at the request of a social worker who interviewed my family and myself. A guardianship means they can hold her while it winds through the system rather than her being released after 72 hours. My grandmother's upset as she thinks all of the issues should be kept in the family and the state shouldn't step in. My uncles and grandfather are on the side of having a guardianship. As far as they're concerned, she's not welcome in the family anymore and they won't allow her to continue to take advantage of anyone in the family. My sister and I say let her be a professional's problem and let them figure out what to do with her. My brothers don't care and have effectively washed their hands of her years ago, so their stance is whatever keeps her as far away as humanly possible. We can't deal with her anymore and why should we? With the guardianship petition, I'm working on washing my hands of this situation entirely. I'm sure I'll be interviewed about why a guardianship is necessary, but other than that, I don't plan to have any further contact with my mom unless she apologizes and makes amends for her behavior, if that's something she's even capable of anymore. I just don't see that happening, and any compassion or understanding I had for her in the past is gone. Whatever state her life is in, she brought it on herself. I just want to move on with my life without her in it and be done with her for good. It doesn't look like she'll be released from the hospital anytime soon, so there's no risk of her attending my wedding. I did talk to her boyfriend yesterday after my sister and I filed our paperwork, and we decided to invite him to lunch. He's decided to break up with her for good, and we learned just how bad things were with her. He's a real nice guy who's been caught up in a bad situation and had no clue how bad she could be. I feel really bad for him. I did decide to invite him to my wedding as I can tell he's a lonely dude who's been to hell and back. Not sure if he'll show, but the offer is there. There was a time I'd have allowed an event like this to ruin the run-up to the wedding, but I've been able to separate my mom's behavior from the wedding. It hasn't put a damper on it. Now that my mom is squared away, I can enjoy myself. Update: the only news I have on my mother is that she's out of detox and currently in a catatonic state, refusing to speak, eat, or drink water. They may install a feeding tube if she doesn't let up. I think she's trying to be dramatic and get attention, so do my uncles. We're not sure she has dementia, but she definitely has something going on, but doing any kind of evaluation while she acts like this is difficult. The doctors made it very clear that if she doesn't quit drinking, she will die within the next 5 years, and it may even still be too late. I think I'd feel more sad, but I've had to realize that I lost my mother long ago. I did invite my mom's boyfriend, but he chose not to come. As for the wedding, I'm now happily married, and on Wednesday we found out that I'm pregnant.